Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on another DIIG Live. We're here, July. Hello, we've got Cliff Adams, we've got Susan Moat, we've got plenty others I saw early on as well. Okay, let's see what we've got. We've got Charlie Press, we've got Aggie Hall, Andrew Oars. Happy July the 4th. Damon Locke's here, Steve Belden, Emma Yoel, we'll talk more about you later, Zoe Spragg, Andrew Oars again, once again, and we've got Christoph Althoff, Jane Caldwell, Jim Bynon, and they go on and on. Wow, this is great. Okay, first up, trust you guys can hear me. The usual stuff we do around here. Okay, loads and loads of really cool finds throughout all of June and right knocking on the door of July as well. We've got quite I can't say feature complete, that would be wrong, but we have today a section on ring finders and ring finding anyway. We've got a wonderful hoard review from Jenny and Stuart. We've got Stephen Andrews. He's a beach detectorist from Jersey, just south of Britain, and he's giving us an insight into how he goes about beach detecting, and he's a really interesting fellow, so I'm sure you'll enjoy that. We've also, of course, Emma Yoel, who's a time team detectorist. She goes and digs a lot of the sites that they have there, so I'm really looking forward to showing you guys that interview as well. Thank you so much, Emma. And we've got a wonderful section with Trash Chipkin. He's one of my favorite people at the moment, and he's going to be guiding us through the process of creating what you'd say in America is a colonial era shoe buckle or similar. And so I think you'll enjoy that as well. Okay, I might have a little bit about Go Terrain as well, maybe the HF coil, but I want to make this very community centric this month. So we're going to kick off with a section I put together, and I'm going to try and do this every single month. So you guys tell me if you enjoy it. Every month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose something community centric and then do a little video, like 2 or 3 minutes, that sort of thing. And you guys tell me if you like it. So we're going to get straight onto it without further ado. This is about when people lose something of high sentimental value to themselves. Who you're going to call? A detectorist. Enjoy, guys.
Why have I done a ring recovery?
Why do we do it? Why do we help people when they've lost items?
There's nothing better than returning a lost piece of jewelry.
It is better to give than to receive.
We do it because we can.
I think in this hobby it's better to give back more than you take.
A lady fell over on the beach and lost her late husband's wedding ring.
Helped a lady out who'd lost a necklace on a beach.
I had an opportunity to find a ring for my wife's cousin's daughter.
On the necklace was her wedding ring, a pendant, and her late mother's white gold wedding ring.
So it was precious knowing that I was able to return an heirloom. That meant a lot to this young bride who only got married 5 years ago.
After she pointed out where she fell, I found it for her.
And I found it, and the look on her face said it all. Absolutely buzzing.
She was well happy.
Each signal is a little treasure.
Sometimes it's a ring, sometimes it's a freaking pull tab.
there's nothing like the emotion of handing something back to somebody that when they've lost it.
You're not just finding a relic, but often you're returning a memory.
It's really something to treasure.
Keeping the Outer Banks beaches clean.
Thank you guys so much for that. Did you like that? I love that. Nice little video celebrating, as I said, ring recovery. You guys tell me what you think about that. And also I can see some of you have noticed that in the top right, you can see the DIIG Live raffle draw. We're going to draw it at the end. Usually I just draw it haphazard anytime I like. But we're going to do it towards the end. And at the moment, we've got 6 entries in the draw. See if we can get that up to 20 odd by the time we finished here. But yeah, ring recovery are such an important thing. I mean, people don't know how important something is until it's gone. You know the saying. We've got a great one here from Deus Dan. At the top, we've got Howie Grapek. I'm sure there's lots of other things. I actually typed in recovery, to be honest. So that could give us anything. Found by Detectorist. Oh, yeah. And yeah, this is, you know what? Brings us on quite nicely to our next little piece. So this is Stephen Andrews from 30th of June. He found this wonderful signet ring, 18 karat as well. Wow. And this is Steve on the right. I find Steve a very interesting fellow, and I think you guys are going to learn a lot from his tips on beach detecting. He might come in a few times over the course of the next few months. Thought I'd also give some more shout outs as well. So we've got, of course, Emma Ewell, we left off from you. We've got John Hemmings, George White, Damon Locke, Stefan Wild. Hey, buddy, we might hear from you later. We've got Simon Chalmers, Roy Sorang, Jim's here, Andrew again, Brian Wise is here, Charlie is here. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Loads of you in tonight. Wow, I'm under a bit of pressure. All right. Okay. Yes, actually, this is an opportune moment to mention that, of course, the reason, well, part of the reason why we're here is because in June, we asked you to put a hashtag next to any images that you've chosen to show us. And the hashtag was XP Finds. This is a list of all the people here, so we're going to shuffle them now. I think we're going to do it a little bit later on, but thank you very much for that, Ring Finders. There's loads of people who seems to like it as well. Of course, I've got to pick the best of the bunch, so let's do that very dangerous thing. Emma will know all about what I'm talking about by minimizing a window when you're streaming. Hopefully we can get that back. And I'm going to now show our DIIG intro. So this is what I deem the top finds from June. I hope you guys enjoy. and back we come again. How good was that? I really enjoyed that. There's some really nice finds along there as well. Aggie Horse says, great editing work, Chris. Lots of time spent doing that. Yeah, perhaps a little bit too much, but hey, I love doing it. Now, I know you guys love putting up, let's take my audio piece monitoring out. There we go. Now, I know that you guys love putting up your images of things that you've found over the course of the last month. So let's go take a little look at these. Some wonderful pieces from around the world. Nice liberty there. And this is Damon Locks, I believe. And it would have been, I think this is his first ever Roman coin. So props to Damon. Hearts in chat or likes or what have you. I can see a few of you, by the way, have been out in the fields today, so that's pretty good. So it's a lovely piece there. It's a nice barrel tap there. Who doesn't love a barrel tap, eh? With a beautiful US button underneath that. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and these buckles are great. What other stuff have we got here? This is a nice piece. I like that one. For King and Empire. So that goes back a bit, doesn't it? Damon says, thanks for the mention. No, that's all right, man. You've done great. Okay, right. So there's quite a few bits there. Oh, I like this one. I do love a landscape photo. I don't know about you guys. I do love a landscape photo. I can see there's 18 entries in the draw. That's wonderful. Really like that. Let's see. Oh. Ah. That might be a problem. Okay.
Hey Chris, nice to see you. I would guess you remember this nice face, right? Stefan from Crazy Detectors in Germany. I thought I would share a little tip, a quick. I'm really hurry. I know you're busy, right?
It's complicated.
Okay, I will do. So, as you know, I wear this kind of headphones on my Xpedios too, but in the hot weather, even if you are a cool guy, it's too much heat on the brain. So I can use these kind of headphones, also my dears too, like these ones. So a little breeze for the brain, but that's not enough when it's really hot outside. So you can slip this puck off the headphones and can use this little platine, put it on. Now you can use a 3.5 millimeter jack to put on earbuds.
Yeah.
It's not getting better. So use this on warmy days. Hope this kind of tip is interesting.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you very much for sharing.
Okay, see you next time.
All right, bye. Wow, okay, that was random. Hey, Stefan. Yes, he was there. Hope you enjoyed that little skit. He was there to explain, of course, that throughout the year, you might want to choose a different set of earphones over another. So we've got the WSA2 XLs. Obviously, I'm not here to sell it. I'm a detectorist like you guys too, but they do exist. And then what he was showing was this. So this is the adapter plate. I know this has actually come up on the group a few times recently. Now this here, it's not really designed for sticking on the puck and then popping the puck into your pocket necessarily. I mean, it should be fine, but it's not really designed for that. It's designed for going in, say, the watch adapter piece as well. But yeah, I thought that was fun anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Stefan from Crazy Detectors over in Germany. Really knowledgeable guy. And we're going to be doing more of Stefan's tips, not next month, but the month after. Anyway, I can see we've got 20 entries in the draw. Wonderful. And I think actually, you know what? This is a time to roll one. Okay, so let's minimize you for a sec. Bring you over here. Wheel of names. Oh, got it back. Okay. So as said, we've got quite a few people in. I think 60 people, 60 entrants on here. We'll be giving away the red Deus 2 cap later on in the show. Teresa, hello. And Steve Ray's here as well. Trash Chipkin, you're coming up in a second. I won't forget. If I forget anyone, he will come after me. I'll tell you that for nothing. But here is our Red Desk 2 cap. We'll roll that one later on. I'm not rolling too much tonight, not giving too much away or I'll get in trouble. This is for a dig sticker. So we're going to roll that. Rob Davis from Britain. I do like the game show kind of sound. I do apologize. No cuddly toy. Okay, so... Oh, yes, I'm supposed to write it down as well. Who can jot that down for me? Rob Davis, send me a message. Roy says, how are you doing? I'm doing really well. Enjoying my HF2 coil, waiting on the next new patch. Some people are doing all right with it, actually. I'm pulling a lot of targets out. It's very, very good. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll move on to our next part of the show. So I think now we'll go for Stephen Andrews. So he is our beach detectorist, or one of the many. And so I want you to check out what he has to say. And then we've got a few other things, and we'll go with Emma's interview. Here's Stephen. Enjoy.
I'm up to 102 successful recoveries of sentimental items, rings, jewelry, watches, and whatnot.
Thanks so much for taking the time just to give us a little bit of an insight into ring finding on the beach. Again, it's something that everyone is going to the beach more often, I think, at the moment where they can. When you go out searching then for things that have been lost or left behind, is there a particular search pattern that you would do? What's the process then after you've chatted to them?
It's getting the information from the people is probably more important than the actual method detecting. Getting in the right spot, so you have to really sort of get as much information from the people as you can with satellite images, any photos they've got of the area where they were, any landmarks, things like that. And then it's just gridding it. If you can see your footprints in the sand, it's just mowing the lawn up and down, advancing your footsteps. On a wet beach where you can't see your footprints, use GPS track, although GPS isn't quite accurate enough to cover every centimetre. The inaccuracy is there still. But it's a good guide. And if I'm on land, I use the little markers for sports to mark out lanes and just grid it, and then putting the hours in potentially, and need a bit of luck.
What kind of program and what do you do?
For most of my recoveries are on the beach, so I use beach sense, and then I use full tones, and because most of the time they're recent drops, I run it quite fast, so up the reactivity a bit. I think I run a 2 on reactivity, and I lower the audio response to get the perception of depth, so you can tell what's really shallow and what's deeper easier. And a lot of the things that are deeper I'll just ignore and just carry on. I run iron full volume because I like to hear it. I'm trying to think what else, but it's mainly just beach sense, full tones. And then for land I'll use a similar program but based on sensitive full tones.
Interesting.
Just a fairly quick bit of reactivity and a lower audio response.
Okay. But how long would it typically take to find a ring if you knew roughly where it was?
They've taken over 10 hours, over multiple days working with the tides. Some I found literally in 2-3 seconds when they put me in the right spot.
Right.
But some I've never found, and I've done like over 60 hours looking for certain things and just never found them.
I guess you'd have to have a good appreciation for, reading the beach and looking at the sort of weight of objects in certain parts of the beach and so on. Then, that can give you an indicator of where your mystery object might potentially be.
Yeah, when there's a big swell, you can go down one day and come down the next, and it will look completely different. You lose that much sand from one spot and it gets moved around. But I think the ring will actually just go up and just down rather than left and right. so the sand moves around it, I think, or a lot of them I don't find. So, but I think the ring will just go down, be buried under 2 feet of sand. You'll never detect it.
Wow, yeah, 2 foot as well. We want to get you on some of that Treasure Coast of Florida. We put Stephen Andrews there. They'll find a few a few ships from no time.
Yeah, there's a Stephen Andrews out there, Gigmaster. People get me mixed up with him. His name's spelled exactly the same.
Any funny or awkward experiences in ring finding? Have you ever found something that someone doesn't want back?
I have actually, yeah. Well, I don't know if it was the exact ring, but there was a ring I found put online, and the lady said she threw it away after her divorce. But I don't know if it actually was that ring. There was one I found for a young lad, only a teenager, and he lost a ring at the beach, and I thought it would be, generally there was a silver ring, nothing really expensive, and found a target which was in the 30s, and normally that would be one of those yogurt pop, the yogurt drinks, what are they called? Thought it would be one of those, and I generally just dig the rubbish and clear it anyway. And this ring came up, and it was gold and silver in color, and I thought it was just a bling ring. And then subsequently found out it was a ring he borrowed from his dad. It was a Bulgari Parentesi ring. It was worth thousands. And
really?
He borrowed it and lost it down the beach, yeah.
Oh, wow. Right, okay. Yeah, very exciting.
So I got him out of the doghouse.
Why do you do ring recoveries and jewelry recoveries? What's it for you?
I'm community spirited, and I know that people appreciate it. When you hear the stories behind these items, that they're so important, and it's just a good thing to do. You've got the right tool for the job. The DS2 is probably the best tool for that job, I think. And put your name out there. Follow your lost and found groups in your area, and offer, because you can help.
Don't panic. Right, you can hear me now. Oh God, so sorry. Chris Summers says, no sound. Andrew Orrs, no sound. Roy, Damon, Emma, Charlie, Emma again. Hi, Jesse. Thank you very much for joining us. You guys should have me back again. So what I was saying is I've added George in. He's now in there. But Vicky Gates does do a sterling job every single month with these, and she's tallied them all up, and I'm sure it's fine, but whatever, I've added you in there, George, as a small gesture of goodwill. Okay, right. We'll roll that again later on. I'm going to go back to some of these finds, have a little look at this, and then we'll move on to our next one. Bobby Baker's like, no sound. Hopefully it's okay now. What else do we have? This is a button found by Brian White from Southern Relic Adventures. This is a button. It's actually a police button from the 19th century. This is post-American Civil War. A really nice one. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for sharing that with the group. Very cool. And look at this. What a beautiful beach scene this is. Lovely. And talking of beach scenes, why can I bring this in at the same time? You've just heard from Stephen, and thank you so much, by the way, Susan. You sent me a message. That's very kind of you, with the details of that winner. In fact, you know what, Susan? If you can help me out today. Put my normal camera on. Back on again. Thank you very much, Susan. Yeah, but you can see this is the journey, the pattern for the large signet ring that that Stephen's picked up very recently. So that's very, very cool. This is just the sort of stuff actually that Go Terrain excels at. But then again, if you have GPS, of course, it's only as good as the tool that you have, and Go Terrain runs on a phone. That's a great bit of kit though. If you guys haven't seen much of that, we might run something on it later on. But yeah, again, I just wanted to show you the journey of Stephen finding that as well. Oh, Carol Golds has actually sent me a message. So Carol's in as well. So hi, Carol. She's another wonderful beach detectorist from a Floridian, so from the Florida coasts. Again, very cool. Thank you. And just briefly, while we've got it on screen. Oh, very interesting. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Am I looking at... This looks like an Anglo-Saxon in terms of the flan and the thickness of it. But then again, it is got that sort of... It does have an Iron Age look to it as well. So if anyone knows, post up in chat. How's everyone doing? Who's been out detecting, by the way, as well? Again, we've got Jesse that's come along tonight. Teresa's here again. Brian Wise has pressed join. So we're up to 21 entries now in the draw. Very cool. And Cliff says it's a beautiful coin. It certainly is as well. While you guys are thinking about all the stuff you've been up to, I'm going to run our next interview piece here. It's a very short one. This is about an exclusive for the Deus 2 group. Well, it feels like an exclusive to me anyway. This is Jenny and Stuart, who uncovered very recently a stunning Edward I, well, hoard. I was going to say coin spill. Check this out.
So this is the hoard we found, literally within 20 square feet of where we are now. A very hot, dry day. Literally whispers. Some of them were 60, 62 on the VDI, VDU, on the Deus 2 Jethro setting. But literally whispers. Some of them didn't even show a figure. They all popped up probably 10 inches, 12 inches maybe, quite deep, all in good condition. We've literally just washed them off with a little bit of water here. None of them were bent. They're all like this. Coinage, Jenny?
Yeah, they're mainly Edward I. Two of them, whoops, dropped one. Two of them are Alexander III, and one is John I of Brabant, Duke of Brabant, yeah. Belgium.
Late 13th century?
All late 13th century, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple still with a landowner, which we'll get back before we give them to the FLO.
Yeah, we're taking to the FLO fairly soon, so should be interesting to see what happens. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so thank you so much to Jenny and Stuart. I'm really sorry, Jenny, by the way. I needed to put an E on the end of your name, so apologies. This is the part of the hoard. It's actually gone up more than that, but look at that. It's a wonderful, wonderful find. As Steve Belden says himself, Chris Sumner agrees, Teresa K's on it. Cliff Adams has been beach detecting, or he says that beach hunting should be great after the weekend. So yeah, I totally agree with that. But yeah, what a wonderful, wonderful hoard that was. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. And if you ever find anything, you send it my way, and I'll make you internet famous for about an hour. Finds pot porn, says Chris Sumner. Yeah. Hi, Randy. Okay, right. So let's do our next little piece. So we'll close that one down. Okay, where are we at? We're at 7:34. So I think we're going to go to... We'll do Trash Chipkin now, and then we'll get on to Emma, okay? So thank you very much, guys, for your patience. This is going to be Trash Chipkin. He's going to tell us a little bit about the buckles that he's been creating and loads of other things he's been creating in silver. What an interesting guy. Check this out.
Hey, y'all. Good evening, and thanks for stopping by the trash can tonight. My name is Tim Trash Chipkin. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, silversmith, and XP detectorist here in Eastern Virginia. I'm going to show you a couple colonial buckles that I've made with actual colonial buckle frames that were either broken in half or just missing parts entirely. I use a 3,000-year-old method of sand casting, so it's fairly easy to duplicate some of these buckles. Let me show you. Well, right on. I'll start with this piece here. This is like a trapezoidal buckle that I found. This is probably about, a 1670s buckle or so. You can still see it's still got a little iron knob on there. I've taken this piece and I casted it, and then I took the duplicated piece and ended up forming it into this piece here. It's a little different with this band going down the middle as the original, but you get the idea.
Nice development piece, you can see.
And up here,
okay,
this one,
so this
the
is
same
what's
thing.
come out
Little
of the
iron
ground.
chunk right there.
So it's
Nice
the
buckle.
copper alloy.
Tongue and shape. And we recreated this. I've got some sterling silver tubing going through here. So you've got basically 1, 2, 3 pieces of sterling tubing. It is pinned in with 14 gauge sterling silver wire and then soldered on the edges as well. This is all hand cut with a saw, then put together. Up here we've got one dating from about 1650 to 1670 or so, right in that range. This one's very ornate. One nice solid piece. This was fairly easy to make. There's a wire rod going in between or inside the tubing there. Just one piece. This actually functions still. There you go. Now these are challenging pieces to make. I've got torches, solder picks, and tools that they wouldn't have had back in the mid-1600s. So I definitely commend them on the work that they did. It's not easy to probably put this into a campfire and make it, as opposed to using a nice little Coleman torch. I'll turn around here in a second to show you the solder station I use for most of this stuff compared to what they did back in the day. Just some of the basics tools I have that they probably didn't have back in the colonial days. Just a solder pick made out of titanium. Pick up solder chips and do some pinpointing. I've got a pair of tweezers. They might have had some hand-forged tweezers back in the day, not really sure. This is silver solder. Super easy and convenient to be able to cut off little snippets of this and use it for soldering your metals. I'm not really sure how they did it back in the day, but it was not this easy. And they made it look better than I did. So, well, just want to thank you for joining in, and hope you enjoy these colonial relics turned modern day. Thank you. Hey y'all, good evening.
Wow, that was great. I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Trash, for putting that together for us. Exclusive for the DS2 group. Thank you again, sir. And you know, if you looked at it and you thought, oh, maybe some of the needs a bit of further refinement and things like this, this for what it's worth is straight out of the Roman book. You know, when you're finding things out of the field that might be 2,000 years old, you'll find, if you look carefully, you'll see there are varying qualities about how these pieces were finished. They were all cast, and it depends on the market, it depends on the end user, the end area. Are they being exported for refinement overseas, that sort of thing? So take a look. When you get some things out the ground, you might see evidence of how it was made. So for example, if you've got a piece of what's obviously bronze and it's got little air pockets in it, it could well indicate that that is actually a piece of bronze that was melted down. Another object was melted down, and then another object was recast from it. And that's one of the key giveaways. Look into it. I'll do a piece on it one day. Okay, where are we at? I think we'll Rolf the hat, and then we'll do the time team interview, because I'm really looking forward to that. And thank you so much, guys, for your patience. Let's just get the right mouse. Wheel of names, bring you over. How's everyone feeling? Everything going okay? We've got 21 entries in the draw. Those of us who have joined us, if you put an exclamation mark and then join, lowercase, you'll enter yourself in for our raffle. As Jani Manighetti says, she says, thank you very much for your nice comments. I absolutely, I totally bowled over by how cool that hoard was. And thank you again so much for putting that video together. I really appreciate that. Very cool indeed. Right. So, for the Deus 2 red cap, let's roll. David Crone. Well done, mate. David's won it. We'll remove you, and we'll come back to you a little bit later on. Okay, so our next interviewee is Emma Ewell. Emma has attended a time team dig. This is a Sutton Hoo. I encourage you to look at that. I was thinking about doing a piece just leading up to it, just like, what is Sutton Hoo? I would just say, you guys, from a copyright perspective, it wasn't wise for me to put that together, but I would basically go on Google, go on YouTube, and there's a fabulous introduction to it, so do take a look. I'm going to roll the interview now. It's around about 15 minutes long. It's worth every damn second. Enjoy, guys. Thank you very much to Emma Ewell to join us on DIIG Live. Emma, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And I understand you were on a time team dig very recently. That's a tongue twister. How did you get on? That finished up a couple of weeks ago, didn't it?
Yeah, so it finished up a couple of weeks ago. I was there for in total 2 weeks, separated out by a week in the middle. So I was actually on site for 2 weeks in total.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. Absolutely amazing. I got the chance to complete part of the metal detector survey, which they did last year, and then continue on from that, and then also detect the trench when they were taking out the layers of the spit. So it was very full on, a bit of detecting in basically everywhere that they were involved this year.
But you had that gap in between of a week as well, seeing what other people were up to at the same time. Folks, by the way, this is the Sutton Hoo dig. I've already mentioned this in the last few minutes, but the Sutton Hoo dig with Time Team. There's been digs over the years at this place. Massive cultural interest, both nationally and internationally as well, going back to earlier texts and resources. 1939 was when the famous Basil started digging up just at the beginning, the outset of World War II. If you've seen the film The Dig, you'll know all about that. But it's thought over the generations now that possibly there could be a link to a famous Anglo-Saxon king. Who it is, we still don't know, because unfortunately we haven't found a crown that says Radwalders Rex or anything like that. But we do, Emma, think it could potentially be a leader. And I understand that quite a few things have come out from this dig over the years. Tell us, Emma, what was your role on the dig? You've mentioned you're a detectorist, so just tell me the areas you were investigating, perhaps. And what sort of things, going back through history, have come up from Sutton Hoo? Tell us.
So it all kind of begins for me at Sutton Hoo last year, when I was invited up as a metal detectorist to metal detect part of what they call the garden field. So if you've ever been to Sutton Hoo, it's the field next to the visitors centre. And when they built the visitors centre, they discovered part of an Anglo-Saxon cemetery. Now, they wanted to investigate if this cemetery basically extended into the garden field, which now today there's a fence between the visitor centre and the garden field. But if you think back in Anglo-Saxon times, there would not have been a fence. So theory is that the cemetery extended into this area. So last year we began by completing a metal detector survey over the whole field. And we found Anglo-Saxon artifacts. So I ended up finding a disc brooch. I found a lovely ring and dot Anglo-Saxon strap end.
Wow.
And found a huge Roman brooch, which was a fibula, a one-piece fibula brooch, which it was literally about the size of my palm. And Helen Geek absolutely loved that, because it's kind of her era of small finds. But it was...
And sorry, could I just cut in there? Sorry, thank you. Roman brooch, Saxon cemetery. Are we talking about a different populace reusing earlier objects for their own use, or are you talking about just the layers of history? And how does that work as well?
So when we were there last year, the Roman era was an era that was kind of missing from the Sutton Hoo story. So they hadn't had many Roman artifacts from Sutton Hoo. So when we started to actually detect the field, we did have more than one fibula come up. So it's kind of showing some evidence of activity for Romans or, you know, Anglo-Saxons arrived, showing potentially a longer settlement use potentially. So you just don't know yet. But yeah, lots of little bits of Roman stuff started coming out, which was, even Helen said she was really excited about it because it was kind of like the missing piece of the puzzle for that area.
Yeah, and picking up on Helen. So this is Helen Geek. She is, I was going to say former. She is an active time team, sometime presenter, definitely an expert. And folks, for those watching from overseas, outside of Britain, you might not know Time Team. I do encourage you to go on YouTube and I was going to say dig it up. There's a lot of dig puns, aren't there? But this is a little bit like Expedition Unknown or some of those sort of gold hunters things, those kind of shows. I wouldn't go as far as Oak Island because Time Team actually do find things. but Helen Geek often uses this term and uses it with me of the Indiana Jones finds, you know? Not necessarily that they belong in a museum as such, but just they are that important and they are the massive piece of the puzzle there. Emma, I'm really keen to know about the DS2. I mean, you've joined the DS2 group today, and actually you've been part of DS2 group since pretty much its inception. You took the DS2 metal detector out. What settings did you use? What coil did you use? And can you tell us more?
So I love using the DS2. I've actually got two DS2s that I took with me. So one I had with the 11-inch coil, one with a 9-inch coil, and it simply made it easy for me to grab one or the other when I needed to. So for example, when I was completing part of this year's metal detector survey, I could just easily use the 11-inch coil, but then all of a sudden they might be ready for me to go and detect a little bit of the trench. So I would grab my detector with the 9-inch coil on and go in, and it's just a little bit more precise, especially when we're digging in smaller areas. I'm able to just use the 9-inch coil more thoroughly and within like a smaller area. So I was using on both machines program 3 sensitive full tones, which is my favorite program.
Mine too.
I don't dabble with it though. I literally have XY screen, sensitive full tones, don't mess about with it, and off I go.
Go you. That's so good. You've told me in the past about how you do these archaeological surveys, and you've mentioned that the idea is that they take off a section of soil, okay, and then you see the layer, and you can actually see did you tell me that you can see how they've been plowing over hundreds and hundreds of years? You could see the plow marks. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. So when the garden field was ploughed back in the 60s, you can, when they get down, you know, perhaps say that far, you can see the plough marks. So when it's gone down to its deepest point, you can actually start to see the stripes of the different coloured soil from where it's been disturbed by the plough. So you get to kind of get a feeling of how far the plough has actually gone down, because when you dig and you stop seeing those plough marks, you know the plough hasn't gone deeper than that section. So that's like the natural soil.
Right, I see. That area, that first foot, I understand it in archaeological terms. They call it the soupy area, where there's like everything's jumbled around. Are you finding like Saxon and Roman artifacts in that, or are you going down further than the plough line? How does it work?
So we are finding artifacts within the plough soil, so within the section that has been disturbed. And when I'm in the trench, I'm searching for ferrous and non-ferrous items because they could all be of archaeological interest. You know, even bits of nail, for example. You think about the Sutton Hoo ship was iron rivets. That was all that was left from it. So it's super important that on this site we are recovering iron objects as well, because you just don't know what could be in this section that we're detecting. So making sure we're recovering all metal artifacts from that trench.
Yeah, it's super important to be very considerate of the layering of history as well. Even if it's, as we say, the soupy area, where it's all kind of jumbled up. But it just goes to show, like the some of the greatest hoards ever discovered in Britain, like the Hoxton hoard, and there's plenty in Europe I could refer to as well. They were all discovered less than a foot down. Okay, and I'm going back quite a while as well with some of those ones. Um, yeah, that's very interesting. There's actually a big conversation generally about the ethics of metal detecting. So, when you're in sort of an archaeological setting, how do you personally ensure that you're being respectful to history and the land? What's recording go like? How does that work?
Yeah, so I always record my finds. I'm a self-recorder on the portable antiquities scheme, so I can easily do that. But I make sure I'm recording items of interest, items that I like, items that fall within the code, the guidelines code that you can find online through the PAS or the MCMD. But just it's general knowledge as well, respect the land, don't dig deeper than the plough soil, which is generally like maybe a little bit deeper than your spade. And if you find something deep and interesting, we're all tempted to dig it out straight away, but make sure you get advice. And the NCMD actually has a hoard hotline, which you can get in touch with someone pretty instantly and get advice from if you have any doubt about that. So
that's right. And if it costs a little bit of money to extract that object or objects, then the hotline will talk to you about how to achieve that with their help as well. Yeah, that's what it's there for. Yeah, good mention. I like that. Now I know it's probably all under wraps, but they did do a couple of media releases, Time Team. They released some information on a bucket, and anyone who knows their history knows there's a couple of buckets in history that wars have been started over. But I understand that they found the base to a bucket, a bronze bucket, and context again, guys. Okay, so we know that the Sutton Hoo ship, it's a ship burial, contained silver plates that have come from, say, Byzantium or Constantinople, Istanbul today. We know that it has silver coins that have come from Merovingian Francia, which have probably been mined via the French mines in the far west. We've got Spanish or Iberian influences as well in there. It's an awful lot of stuff. So they found a bronze bucket. Emma, what was in the bucket?
So theory is
was anything in the bucket?
Yeah. So I will just take you back a little bit before we discuss what was in the bucket. Last year was the bucket find. Bucket was a discovery from last year's dig, and I remember they took a couple of layers of the spit off in the trench, and I went and detected over it, and basically it was this ginormous banging signal, like amazing signal, but it was still so deep in the ground, and they'd already gone about this deep at the time, and going over it, and it was like bing 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 bing, and you're like, oh, sometimes you get really deep iron, and or you never, but it was deep but amazing. You just knew this wasn't going to be iron, and even when they were down that far, you got the pinpointer out, run it on the top of the soil, the pinpointer wasn't picking it up, so you knew it was still deeper. But yeah, it was incredible to be able to actually stand on that, which we now know because they've removed it, was the part of the Broomswell bucket base. So they've done reports on it and testing and all that sort of stuff so far. It's been in the lab, and there's been pieces of animal cremation bone and pieces of human cremation bone.
Wow,
so
human as well?
Like a little bit. I'm pretty sure Jackie from Time Team, who does all that,
right,
she said there was a piece, some pieces of human bone in there as well.
Right. I don't want to talk about a bad day in the Anglo-Saxon office, but if you're taking out the scraps from the kitchen table and there's human bits in there as well. Oh, forgive me. Let's take Time Team aside for a second. Thank you so much. It's been really, really useful. I've really enjoyed it, and I love talking about stuff like this as well. Just taking Time Team aside, on any of the digs that you've been on over the years, have you ever had a moment where you thought you'd found something absolutely incredible and it turned out to be less exciting?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I've had those signals where every dig, right? No, it's especially when you've been on ploughed land, especially, and like back in the day when they used to deep plough it, and you'd have a really amazing signal, and it was just, you know, all the signs were right. It was telling you the XY screen was perfect, the number was perfect, the tone was perfect. You're like, this is going to be something good. And I'm digging and I'm digging and I'm digging, and it's getting deeper, and the signal's still just as good. I'm like, this is an iron. And then you get to it and it's like a squished tin can or something, you know, like a squished Coca-Cola can. You're just like, oh man, it had such good potential.
Yes, I have been there before when I've been 90% confident or more that it's possibly an axe head. I'd say a power stave potentially, given how deep this is so far. And as I get further and further down, it becomes clear that this is actually a cider can from the 1990s. And that continues to happen to me. But yeah, you can, with the Deus 2, you can at least find out a few things when you're going over it. That's great. Thank you so much once again, Emma, for joining us. You're going to be doing a few digs, I suspect, this year. Any of the big rallies?
I'm on Just Detect. I'm trying to get a place on Digathon at the moment if I can get a ticket, because I know it's sold out. A few others around and about which I can't remember, but I'm sure I'll be bumping into some of the viewers on the digs, and if you see me, come and say hi.
Absolutely. Thank you once again, Emma Yoel, Time Team DIIG Detectorist. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Well done, Emma. That was so cool. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, I was listening very carefully to that. There's a lovely piece, another mention, sorry, of ethical code and things like that. And if you guys didn't already know, there is a thing called the National Council Metal Detecting over here in Britain. And it just gives you code of conduct. Don't worry, I'm not going to read it out to you. And it just tells you a little bit about, you know, filling your holes and all the rest of it. But they have a hoard hotline as well. So I would say remember that when you're out in the fields and you're finding something really cool, there are those that can help. Okay, and again, thank you so much, Emma. That was so super cool. Howie says, yeah, it's super cool. Chris Sumner, very interesting. Teresa K, very interesting. And there were people in chat organizing a dig while we were doing all that as well. We had Roy inviting people round to his place, I think. Did I read that wrong, Roy? And a few more people have joined, I see, our raffle. And we're going to go ahead and do that. But I thought, actually, if I can just bring myself to this little bit here. I don't know if this is going to work. I might have to play around with it, guys. But this is, yeah, I'm very conscious, you know, of like, you know, hoards that you can find in one country versus another and all the rest of it. So I'm going to click play on this one. Hopefully I can get the audio to come through. So I'm just going to go quiet for a sec because it's a bit finicky.
Quarter, I think 1945, right in front of the house. Anyway, right here you can see, oop, this is another, oh wait.
You guys hear that all right?
This might be a half. Oh my. This is a half. Oh my, it's a coin spill. Oh my, look at that. It is, oh wow. Oh wow. Oh my gosh, look, there's another one. Get out of town.
Two.
Look at that. All stacked up on top of each other. 3 coins in one hole. Man, am I glad I dug this one. 1942.
Oh, and it's a Walker too.
She's in pretty nice shape.
Love it.
1954. Well, I'm not even spraying them. That's all right. And a little Roosevelt, 1950. There you go, man. That is.
Love that. How special was that? Right, let's put some sound back up. Cool, thank you. Thank you very much. Bobby says, interesting, Emma. Yes, it definitely was. Chris Sumner says, rally at Roy's. Roy, we're coming round to your place. All right. We won't do HF2 stuff today. We've taken a lot. You're 7:59. Right, okay. Raffle time, guys. Raffle. Let's go. So we've got 23 entries in the draw. I have a mouse and I'm fully intentioned to use it. So the idea is I press a button and it randomly picks a person from that. Oh, I wanted to pick up on one important thing because I don't want to leave it behind, and I do really care for you guys and your questions you're putting out there. So I did have a quick check, and Steve Ray, I checked to see in 2025, had you used successfully XP finds tag. I couldn't find it on there, sir, but I'll reach out to you, or one of the team will reach out to you separately. So we want to make sure that you're well looked after there. So I thought I'd mention that. Where was I? Oh, yes. Echoing. Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for that, Emma. Yes, echoing. Should be okay now. I'll do it quickly again. Couldn't find XP finds. Reach out to you separately. Tell me if it's better now, guys, by the way. All right, where was I? Thumbs up. Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's getting a signal from the Mac to the Windows PC. I was a little bit like, not too sure if I should do this, but I wanted to show that find so much. And that Walker as well, that big silver coin, beautiful. And to have 3 come up, very cool indeed. Right, so last chances, guys. We've got 23 entries in the draw. We'll give it just a few more seconds. So it's exclamation mark join to enter. Just a few seconds now. Anybody else? Okay, right, let's roll it. Stopping entries. Oh, Janine, you might not have got in. Right. I'll have to sort you out, Janine. Right, select winner. Jane Caldwell. Lovely. And I suppose you're probably wanting to know what you've won. Okay, so we've got... Don't worry, Janine. Janine, we'll sort you out. So we've got an NCMD card. So that's one of these. These are really cool. Chris says, Chris, can you speak to your contacts at XP HQ and get me an HF2? There's a lot of people asking for an HF2 right now, I can assure you. But back to this. Yeah, this is a beautiful scale card as well. If you guys want to print out your own scale cards, in the files section of DS2 group, so look at the top, you look in the files section. Let's get the music back. Yeah, in the files section, you'll see there's some British Museum scale templates, if you like. And there's loads of ones, right, for pottery as well. Yeah, there's loads of different scale cards. So we've got an NCMD card, we've got a DIIG cap, we've got a DS2 sticker, a DIIG patch, an NCMD patch, and a mystery object. So, Jane Caldwell, what for your one? The mystery object. Where's the applause? Yeah, okay. Not even I know what the mystery object is yet. Let's roll again. A DIIG patch. And who has that? Done it the wrong way around. Randy DeMario has a DIIG patch. Go you, man. And let's select another winner. Cliff Adams. Well done, Cliff. What have you won? NCMD patch. These are great, these ones. NCMD patch. Andrew Ors. I hope I've pronounced your name okay, sir. Andrew, let's see what you've won. Sticker. Ah. There's 2 group sticker. And oh, next one. Zara Detects has won the DIIG cap. Oh my god. Here we go. Well done. Jim. What's Jim won? They're both good. Jim, you've got the NCMD card. Which means that Trash Chipkin's got the sticker. Very cool. Very cool. Well done. Well done. Hearts in chat, likes. You know the drill. Wonderful. We'll reset that. Great. I've kept you quite a long time. What else have we got here? Congratulations. Yay, Tim. Well done, winners. Yeah, well done from us as well here at DS2 Group. So there won't be a August DIIG Live, not in the same sense, not like this one, because I'm getting married. So yeah, that's that. But we will return in September. And for those that have seen the post I put out privately on my own stuff, it's pretty big. We have theoretically might be a September job, but might have someone internationally known for bronze smithing, and that's going to be great. Okay, our last bit here is our outro. So again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a wonderful session. I've really enjoyed it. There's been loads of really cool stuff as well. Loads of interaction from people. We had 30, 40 odd people in here. So everyone say goodbye to each other. But firstly, of course, you've got the outro. I'll run that and I'll shut up. You guys have a great weekend ahead. And if you're praying for rain, I hope it happens. If you're praying for sun, plenty more of that. I'm out. Thanks.